So, have you ever kicked off a huge computer task, only to find yourself staring at the screen hours later, just wondering if it's broken or if it's doing something brilliant? Yeah, we've all been there. We are diving headfirst into this new age of incredibly powerful AI that can chew on a single problem for minutes, hours, or even days. This is what we're calling slow AI. And trust me, it's bringing back some old design challenges we thought we'd left behind.
And this quote, it just nails the feeling, doesn't it? It's that creeping anxiety that sets in when you've invested a ton of time, but have zero idea what's going on under the hood. Is the AI actually making progress? Or is it just burning through time and money on a wild goose chase? This feeling, this uncertainty and powerlessness, that's the core user experience problem we have to solve.
Okay, so what are we really talking about here? Slow AI isn't just a bit of lag. No, it's a fundamental change in how we interact with computers. We're so used to this quick back and forth, right? A kind of conversation. You ask, it answers. But slow AI just completely shatters that model. It throws that conversational loop we've relied on for decades right out the window, and it demands a totally new way of thinking about user control. Now, here's what's so fascinating. This whole problem, it's not new, not at all. In fact, we're seeing the return of a user experience so old, we honestly thought it was dead and buried. You could say it's the ghost of computing past, a real zombie UX. Just look at the difference. On the left, that's the fast, conversational world we know and love. It's a dialogue. It gives you immediate feedback. And most importantly, it makes you feel like you're in control. But on the right, that's the old model, batch processing. You give your command, walk away, and maybe you come back the next day to see what happened. There's no conversation, no feedback, just a long, anxious, uncertain wait. And that is the absolute crux of it. This fire and forget model, born from the era of punch cards and giant mainframe computers, is being resurrected by the sheer power of modern AI. But here's the good news. This time, we have the design tools to actually tame this zombie and build a way better experience. All right, so how do we do it? Well, the very first step in taming slow AI happens before you even click that run button. See, success isn't just about managing the long wait itself. It's about setting crystal clear expectations right from the get-go. The solution here is something we can call a run contract. Think of it like a formal agreement between you and the AI. Instead of just a vague promise, it gives you a realistic window for completion. It puts a hard cap on the cost. It explicitly defines what done actually looks like. And maybe most importantly, it tells you what the AI won't do. This one step right up front can prevent so many wasted hours and costly mistakes down the line.
So you've signed the contract. You've kicked off the task. It's running. Now what? How do we fight back against that feeling of anxiety and helplessness? How do we keep you in the loop, even when the AI is off in its own world, thinking for hours and hours?
Let's be honest, a simple progress bar just isn't going to cut it anymore. A better progress indicator needs at least 3 layers. First, the overall completion should be based on estimated time, not some arbitrary number of steps. Second, it needs to show you the critical path. What's the one thing that's the bottleneck right now? And third, give an ETA for the very next milestone. This transforms a vague, painful wait into a transparent, predictable process. But progress isn't just about time. It's also about direction. And that's where conceptual breadcrumbs come in. These are little updates about what the AI is actually thinking. So instead of saying processed file 245, it might tell you, hey, I discovered an unexpected correlation here, so I'm shifting my focus to investigate. It gives you a peek into the AI's reasoning, which is absolutely crucial for course correction. And that brings us to what might be the most important control of all, a big, obvious stop button. Because if those conceptual breadcrumbs show you the AI is going down a completely wrong path, you must have the power to step in. Real control isn't just about watching from the sidelines, it's about having the agency to pull the plug if you need to. Okay, so hours, maybe even days have passed. The AI is either done or, it needs your input. But you've moved on, right? You've been in meetings, you've worked on 10 other things. That original context, the reason you started this task in the first place, it's gone. So how does the system possibly bring you back up to speed? The answer is a really smart design pattern called context reonboarding. The burden shouldn't be on you to remember everything. The system itself has a responsibility to quickly and efficiently remind you of what you were trying to do, reestablishing that mental context you had when you first started. And you do this with a resumption summary. It's simple, but powerful. It shows you your original prompt, it summarizes any key decisions you already made, it gives you the current status, time, cost, ETA, and it tells you what will happen by default if you do nothing. A simple summary like this makes jumping back into a long-forgotten task almost effortless. Of course, the system has to get your attention sometimes, but a constant stream of notifications is just noise. A tiered system respects your focus. If the AI is totally blocked, that's a critical issue. You get an immediate push notification. If your input could just improve the quality a bit, that's a low priority in-app alert. And for completion, well, that's based on your preference. It's all about matching the alert's urgency to how important it is to you. So let's pull all of this together. When we design for slow AI, we're not just moving pixels around on a screen. We are designing for human psychology. We're managing expectations, our perception of time, and some really powerful cognitive biases. And one of the biggest psychological traps with slow AI is the sunk cost fallacy. We've all fallen for this. When you've already invested a lot of time or money into something, your brain screams at you to see it through, even if all the signs say it's failing. The more you invest, the harder it is to walk away. Seriously think about it. You've waited almost an entire day. The results are starting to come in and they look wrong. But if you stop it now, it feels like that 20 hours was a complete waste. That urge to just let it finish, to get something for your time, is incredibly powerful. And this bias is what leads us to accept bad results. But we can design an antidote to this. First, by using progressive disclosure, showing useful, partial results along the way. And second, by clearly communicating the salvage value. That is showing the user what work and insights can be saved and reused, even if they cancel the whole task right now. It makes the decision to pull the plug so much less painful. And this really gets to the core mindset we need. As Voltaire said, perfect is the enemy of good. Sometimes a good enough answer right now is way more valuable than a perfect one that shows up tomorrow. By letting users stop a task and keep the partial results, we give them the power to make that choice, respecting their time and their real-world needs. And that leaves us with a pretty wild final thought. Today, we're trying to figure out tasks that run for hours or days. But if AI keeps getting more complex at its current pace, we could soon be facing the challenge of directing projects that run for months or maybe even years. The principles we're figuring out right now, they're just the first crucial step in designing the entire future of how humans and AI work together.
Please like this video and subscribe to Jacob Nielsen's newsletter on UX Tigers for his latest insights every week.